Yo, everybody. I'm super pumped. I get to bring this 27-year-old stud up to the mic, and you can see his mic and you can see my mic, and you can tell he's a stud because he's got the gear, he's got the stuff. But he's 27, he's got 3 companies, he's got a real estate team, a marketing team, and he runs a brokerage. And not only does he have that, he's got a family. But it wasn't all hunky dory for him. He wasn't always making a bunch of money, just rocking out with his dope ass mic and setup. At one point in his life, I would almost say he was somewhat unemployable. He had the
Yeah,
mindset.
that's a great adjective.
Yeah, yeah. He might have had a mindset of a victim versus a victor. Maybe he was playing the blame game and
Hmm.
thinking that life wasn't, this was just what his life was supposed to be like. And maybe I'm not supposed to have success. Maybe I'm not supposed to have love and family or joy, whatever it was. We met a little bit. We've been rapping a little bit offline, but you all know me. I like to get juicy with people for the first time and do it on a mic, on a camera, because let's be honest, that's the way we do it. So I can't wait to hear Zachary's full story. He's out of Delaware. So if you need a realtor, you want to join a team, or you need some marketing, he can market anywhere in the world. But if you want to join his team in Delaware and make a buttload of money and help people, he's your man. But Zachary,
What's going
welcome to
on?
Be Real. Man,
Be
nothing
real.
much,
I
dude.
love it.
You got me fired up right now, bro. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, you got me fired up. I'm like, this guy's 27. He's killing the game. But more than that, money's a barometer of success. Money is a barometer of how much you help other people. Money
Mm,
doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy and
mm,
that you've done the work.
yeah.
And so what I'm excited with you is to hear your story, how you went from, being somewhat unemployable because of your mindset to diving into the mentorship game, the coaching game, getting the coaches, getting the mentors, and flipping the mindset of a victim to a victor, because that's the stuff that I think we lack in today's society. I think we have a lot of people who want to play the victim game. Like, this is dropping on we're recording on the 17th of January, March 2021. And people are talking about, like, on TikTok, they're like, oh, I'm going to get my stimulus check and I'm going to go to Target and buy all this crap. And I'm like, wait, you've been unemployed allegedly for 6 months and you don't have any money, and
Mm,
you're going to go to Target and buy a bunch of shit you don't need?
mm,
Like, you got $1,400. You could throw that into a stock account and watch it grow. You could
watch
throw
it
that
grow.
into your Roth IRA. So the financial literacy part sucks, but you get a little bit of money, and instead of going and do something amazing with it, buying books, buying Audible, right?
Hmm.
People go out, they want to go out and buy what, I don't even know what you could buy from Target that you would really need that you don't already have.
Definitely anything by Chip and Joanne. Anything from the Chip and Joanne collection.
Is that what
Easily.
it is? I don't
I
even know
think
who
so.
those people are.
Man, I see it as people are looking for a short-term high to get them away from the long-term despair that they've been in. There's this
Okay.
long-term, especially in this world right now, this long-term just dark period. And I think now more than ever, when people do need to be saving money and do need to be thinking about their future and investing and growing, they're more worried about getting the quick high. It's why fast food is even a business, because people would just rather have the quick, immediate gratification. But one thing I've come to learn is short-term gratification leans toward long-term dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and oftentimes only long-term gratification comes from short-term sacrifices and dissatisfaction. I'm never satisfied when I go to a gym. I'm never satisfied when I throw my money at something that I know I'm never going to see it again until 20 years from now.
Right.
But I've slowly turned that mindset around to where now I'm addicted to it. I'm
Right.
addicted to doing things I don't enjoy. But yeah,
Well, dude, we could spend 4 days talking just about
easily,
those two things. Um,
easily.
what you described is a book called The Slight Edge by, I
Mm.
think it's Jeff Olson.
Okay.
And
I never read
basically
that.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. It comes up on every podcast because everybody who's successful in life realizes that if they eat the marshmallow that's in front of them, they're
Yep.
not going
The
to
two
get the three,
marshmallow. Yep.
right?
Wait,
But
wait, and you'll get a second one. Yep.
yep. And so we live in a world where, I was with my rich dad the other day, and he says, we live in a world where it's a consumption. He's like, and that's fine. But if your income does not exceed your expenses while you sleep, you are a slave to America.
Absolutely.
So you have to figure out a way to make your money work better for you while you're asleep. Otherwise, you never have true freedom, because you wake up and you get fired from your job. COVID 2022 happens. Everything shut down again. The world's blowing up and you're freaking out because you want the government to take care of you. Instead, you should be taking care of yourself. And right now, if that financial literacy piece, it was there a little bit more, and people are like, hey, you got 14, you got 14, you got 14. Everybody just got $1,400 that I know. That's 14,000. Let's go buy that dumpy house across the street. Let's fix it up. Let's rent it out. And now we got a property between 10 people that makes us $300 a month. Oh, that's not very much money. Well, 300 times 12 is 3,600 times 30 is a lot of money. And at 30 years, it's paid off. So now it's not making you 300. It's making you 700.
Over the course of a year, it's $98,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's crazy. I remember my neighbor when I was
30 years.
Yeah. I remember my neighbor when I was in Bellevue, he owned 16 houses free and clear. And they were each bringing in, I think he said in his retirement, which was 15 years prior, he was close to 70. So he said, I retired at 50-ish. And he said there were like 16, maybe 22. I don't remember, but he was bringing in like average rents when he was young, like 1,200. And then the market went up and he paid them off. And he was bringing in like 2 G's a month per home.
Jeez.
Right. So he's like, I'm making $500,000 a year just kicking back. So my wife's got her new Cadillac. I live in this beautiful home, small house, but decked out with like Viking and all the cool stuff. And he was just financially literate, but he had the mindset shift that I think a lot of people don't get. So tell me your story, bro. Because I mean, I love that we just jumped into this and nobody even knows who you are. So tell me a little bit about.
I'm nobody, man. I'm nobody. I'm a kid.
We're all nobodies until we're somebody, right?
I'll get there one day. But I'm a realtor out of Delaware. I own Loft Realty and the Loft team. My name is Zachary Loft on all social platforms. Originally created that alter ego really to get myself out of a poor mindset, because growing up as Zachary Foust, I consistently made mistakes. I consistently had the wrong mindset. I consistently played the blame game. And so I took on the mantra Zachary Loft. Before you think I'm a multiple personality schizophrenic weirdo, I would suggest reading The Alter Ego Effect. People like Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders, Barry Bonds, even famous actors like Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise utilize things like the alter ego effect to basically bring themselves to Tony Robbins, to bring themselves to a better mindset when they need it. Because ultimately we're not perfect and we never will be. But I was military, signed on when I was 17 years old, U.S. Army National Guard within Delaware. When I joined the National Guard, I took on active Army contracts. So for 6 years, I was full-time Army, deployed, was in Fort Gordon, Georgia for the longest time, El Paso before we went to Afghanistan, came back, took on an active contract as the marketing manager for the Delaware Army National Guard, the marketing manager's assistant, or as an office fan would say, the assistant too. The landscape of that kind of showed me that I would probably enjoy marketing, but my boss sucked. I hated it. Everything I tried to do in the social media world was wrong. We needed more billboards. We needed more bus ads. We needed more this and more that. And especially at the time, we've now in the next, like 10 years from now, then, I mean, we're in a world now where everybody can be captured via social media. Right. Back then, I knew one thing for sure. The 17-year-old, the 19-year-olds that you're trying to target as an Army recruiter are definitely on social media.
Right.
It's also like, dude, let's run a Facebook ad. It's like, that's a waste of money. Meanwhile, we're spending $15,000 to get the Army National Guard logo at a minor league stadium's field.
That nobody goes to.
Nobody goes to. Not even to have a recruiter there, just to have a logo.
Right.
So, so I knew right then, I can point back to it now, that I saw a hole in the market when it came to marketing and advertising and growing. And so naturally, after 2 years, I got demoted once from the Army. Then I went to go and work installing police lights for the state onto police vehicles, fully installing their audio, their lighting, all that fun stuff. I would say it was fun. It wasn't. I got fired from it. And then I joined the Department of Corrections. Department of Corrections zapped my energy, what little was left from
What,
like maybe
they didn't correct your unemployability, bro? I mean, I thought that's what they do. The Department of Corrections, they should have corrected your unemployability.
No, they allowed me to jump in and help correct other people that were in there for life. So I didn't do a very good job because I was one that would sit and talk with the prisoners and just like inmates and just like, yo, what's your life story? I enjoyed it. I honestly I can directly point back to 2 or 3 people where I was like, damn, if you were doing this illegally, what could I do legally? You know, I'm like, you can't even run a Facebook ad, and you ran a $10 million kingpin drug circuit. Like, right. I was impressed. I was like, you can't run a billboard. You got to do it all under the radar. So I was actually impressed.
Word of mouth and referrals, baby.
Oh my God,
what's your word of mouth and referral script?
What kind of drip campaigns you got to set up, bro? That's crazy.
Are you using Active Campaign or what? Are you
Shout out Active Campaign. Yeah, you got your wireframe set up, but and so I had an experience with the person who kind of saw my first entrepreneurial venture. So when I was in 4th grade, I bought and sold paper footballs. It was a growing trend in our school that everyone wanted a paper football. I had a friend of mine who's really good at designing them. And so he was getting little orders for like a quarter or something like that. I said, dude, you got all the orders in the world. Let me get your deliveries. I'll deliver them. You just make them. Dope. He made them for a quarter still. I sold them for $1.
First partnership.
And yeah, did this for like a month and a half until my 4th grade teacher, who was Australian, apparently Australia at the time, was just like, yo, entrepreneurship's Satan. I was at a private school as well. So that was kind of, Satan was kind of like the thing and the thing to avoid. And I got suspended. And
what?
Yeah, I got suspended. So, but the principal in time basically kind of pulled me to the side and said, look, here, don't do that. But don't forget that. Like, that's not normal. Like, don't forget that. Like, keep that in your back pocket. Wow. And now it had been almost 10 years. That principal had gone on to be a realtor, had a team with her husband, killing it.
No way.
Saw me in church one day and was like, yo, she's like, how's life going? I'm like, Department of Corrections another day. So you need to be a realtor. Like, it sounds like a great idea. I won't do it. And so a month and a half goes by. I see her again. It's like July at this point. And she's like, yo, there's a class coming up here in a month or so. You need to be a realtor. I was like, you know what? No, I'm not actually. And then 3rd time's the charm. She calls me. It's like 9:30 at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm about to get ready to go into my night shift because I had to drive an hour to get to work. She called me and said, hey, look, you need to be a realtor. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be a realtor. I get it, but I need like money. And I have no guarantee of money doing that.
Right.
And she said, that's fine. I signed you up. The class starts tomorrow. Pardon? I said, how much is the class? She said, $520. I said, I don't have $520. Like, I don't think you understand. I have a deep relationship with the person who shuts off our electricity. I don't know how I'm going to pay for that. And so lo and behold, I had a conversation with my wife before I left. Another one when I got home. We drained the bank account of like the $380 we had. I walked in with like $380 in 20s. And then I put the rest on my credit card, which was already maxed out. So
of course it was.
And
you have a deep relationship with the person who turned your power on and off.
Yeah, 100%.
There was not a lot of extra money left over at the end of the month because
not at all.
His
name was Rick. He was a shorter Latino guy, really great, awesome dude. He always, when he was shutting down electricity, he always came by and said, yo, you need a couple extra days? I can give you a couple extra days. I appreciate you, Rick. So going forward, from that moment, one of the first things the teacher said was, listen, this class is not going to train you how to be a realtor. It's going to train you how to not get in trouble. So here's what I need you to do. If you want to take this seriously, you got to have the mindset of an entrepreneur. You got to have the mindset of someone who actually wants to take this seriously. And walking out of there, I was like, you know what? My mindset is non-existent.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Okay. So it's like 5 years ago.
Yeah, about 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
And my mindset was non-existent. I I was like, what does that even mean, mindset? I literally Googled, like, what's mindset? Like when someone says, like, I thought that was just like the way someone thought. And it
Right.
kind of is.
It kind of is.
But yeah. And I stumbled upon, the word growth mindset. I was reading, I'm like, that makes sense. I don't have that. I don't have that at all. Everyone sucks. It's everyone else's fault. I've blamed everybody for every mistake I've ever made. And even when there was other people involved in the mistake, there was one common variable around all of them. It was me. And so I decided to take on personal development, and I picked 3 books, literally Googled like good starter entrepreneur books. And I got Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Miracle Morning, just classics. And as I've come to learn, like some of the best at this point, that list was really good. And
well, you took extreme ownership at that point. Like,
yes, and that's another great book.
Yeah. I mean, so you took extreme ownership of your life, and that changed the trajectory, because what happens is most people blame their whole entire life.
Whole life. And I read those. First one I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that was a mindset shifter around finances.
Right.
But the real kicker that just kicked my ass in the right direction was Miracle Morning.
By Hal Elrod?
Yeah. I would wake up 5 minutes before I had to get up. I would lay in bed for 4.5 minutes before I had to get up. It was just, I lived to work. That was all I did. And I worked by trading in time for money. And I was going to be a slave to it for my entire life, doing something I didn't enjoy. So with that, I moving forward, I decided, okay, I'm going to get up like 30 minutes earlier. I'm going to do these affirmations in the car on the way up. I'm going to journal a little bit before I walk into the prison. And then I'm also going to start to actually write down my goals. What do I want to achieve? And I did. I actually painted a whole room in our house chalkboard.
Sick.
And I just started writing goals. It looked like something out of The Beautiful Mind, movie from like 2002, where it just looked like a bunch of equations and craziness. Like I was going insane. I just had all these goals. Like I want to write a New York Times bestseller. I want to be a full-time realtor. I want to run a team. I want to be a local celebrity within our state. I want to, like, just these obnoxious, like, dude, you work in a prison. Like, what in the hell are you writing down? But what that did for me is I started to figure out what trajectory did I even want to go on. Like, I didn't know how I was going to get from here to there. All I knew was, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to serve 1 million people. I want to be able to live a legacy that allows me to die knowing that I'm going to live on. There's going to be a ripple effect past my life. It's not just going to be a 3-day mourning period. It's going to be, I leave a lasting effect. I want my grandkids to have better lives. My grandkids to have better lives because I did what I did. And I started to move forward on that. I started to just take $50 and put it into like any kind of index fund I could find, because I read the book Unshakable. And then I started developing my habits because I read The Circle of Habit. And recently I read Atomic Habits, just how you don't run your life, your habits run your life. I'm like, well, my habits suck. And then 2 months into becoming a licensed realtor, I had 1 deal under contract.
Dope.
And I was driving up, and I mean, yeah, some people might say, I was like, this is terrible. I hate this, bro. I'm not moving. I need to go. And I was on the way up to work, and I was listening to a podcast. I stopped listening to music. I was only listening to podcasts, seminars, and ebooks. I was listening to a podcast, which I think was actually a seminar, because Tony Robbins doesn't do like podcasting.
Right.
He's one of the seminars talking about the burning of the boats.
Oh, yeah. UPW probably.
Yep. And I was like, I was listening, and he was like, look, and I don't got to tell a story. If you guys haven't heard Conquer Cortez, the burning of the boats, listen to it. They tried to take over an island, hadn't been taken over in like bajillion years. Finally, they jumped in with their ragtag army. He said, look, the only way we're going home is if we're going home on their boats. And then they burned the boats they came in on.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, the only way you're going to take the island is if you burn the fucking boats. And I was like, here I am driving to my boat. So I walked in. I said, Lieutenant, can I talk to you? He said, sure. And I got to sit with the captain. I was like, man, I'm quitting. He said, you're putting in your 2 weeks? I said, no, I'm quitting. And it's the first time I'd ever quit. So I didn't know what the hell I was doing. He said, I said, wait, so you're not coming back? I said, no. He said, are you sure? And I'm like, I think. I was just super confused with myself. I'm like, it was like a different part of me was doing this.
Right.
Like,
well, it's your higher self.
Yeah, like I was just sitting there like, yo, what am I doing?
Right. Your
Like,
higher self was called in, and your higher self, it's like an out of body experience. Like
it really was.
you're looking at yourself, and your higher self's like, I got you, bro. And you're looking at yourself and you're like talking and you're like, I'm not talking. This
That's a
isn't
great
me.
way. That's a great way to say it. Cause like literally words were coming out. I'm like, yo, I don't know like what's going on. And he's like, well, you know, if you don't do 2 weeks, you're never going to be able to get a state job. And if they call for like, you know, a recommendation, we're not going to give you one. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to need a resume anymore. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I got a real estate license. He said, that's kind of risky. I'm like, yeah. And then I just walked out. I put my belt on the table, walked out. And then I got to tell my wife I quit. And she was a teacher making about $19,000 a year. So we didn't exactly have a lot to back up on, no savings and just a new real estate license. And so I thought back to my time as a marketing manager with National Guard and thought to myself, wow, that's loud. And I thought to myself, all right, where's the gap? And I remembered the gap from when I worked with National Guard, that there was a gap in the social media marketing world. And so I'm like, I don't have money, so I need to do something that's free. And I don't have any experience in selling, so I need to just show my value somewhere else. And so I just became the video guy, little by little, Facebook Live, stories, whatever I could do. And then just built a relationship with people through scale on social media. And it's led to a rookie of the year that year, ended up doing 27 deals. I've done over 200 now in my 4.5-year career. Team, brokerage, and now a esports team that I run out of South Carolina, and a brokerage that operates in Delaware and soon to be Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. So it's moving.
Pretty impressive, man. Pretty impressive. A lot of nuggets were dropped in that short little 10, 15, whatever minutes we've been chatting for. You know, the burning of the bridges, right? When you burn, yeah, we can see her. She's cute. I think she's running around in her little diaper.
100%.
You know, but you said a lot of things. You burn the bridges, right? When you burn the bridges, oh, hi. What's her name?
You say hi, Georgia? Hey, say hi right here.
Hi. So, you know, burning the bridges, doing the hard things, never being satisfied, always pushing yourself harder, right? But the thing that like you notice is that it's extreme ownership, delayed gratification, walking in and just trusting yourself, right? Having faith in yourself. Most people don't have faith in themselves, dude. Like, it's so sad. Like, most people don't have faith in themselves. And it kills me. It's like, yo, sign up for this, do this, and this, and this, and this. Like, don't just hire one person, hire a team of people. Because you're going to have psychological issues that come up. You're going to have this issue that comes up. You need to go lose 20 pounds because you're fat, and that's draining your energy. You need to go do this so that you and your wife have better relationship. Like, build your team of success.
Absolutely.
Build your team of success. And when you build the team of success, it will slow down. Like, life will slow down because you start doing work, right? You start reading, you lose your job, or you quit because you're like, I don't want to hang out with these people anymore. Like, your goals don't match my goals, right? I actually used to sell Cutco when Hal Elrod sold knives. And so when he died, he was supposed to be on stage speaking, and he died the night before. The Miracle Morning grew out of that, right? Because of that time that he was there. So he created his Miracle Mornings, you know, but writing your goals down daily, right? How many people don't write their goals ever? And then they wonder why they don't come to fruition.
Well, most don't even know what their goals are. They haven't even taken the time.
Well, that's a whole nother ball game. Right. You basically created a vision board without knowing you created a vision board.
Absolutely. It's just a vision board based off negativity.
Right. And so then when you decided I'm going to paint the room, you created a vision board that wasn't it that you didn't know at the time because you didn't know what mindset meant. Like, I'm just going to start writing this shit down. Tony Robbins does it. This dude does it. She does it. He does it. She does it. He does it. He. Like, if they all do it, like, I'm going to do that too. And like, I got my, I got a 90-day blueprint that my coach gave me. And I look at it, it's in the corner right there to my left. And I look at it every day and I'm like, okay, I've got 2 out of the 3 things done. I've got out of the health things, I've stayed on track with that. Out of the relationship stuff, I'm almost there 80%. The business stuff, I wanted to pay down some debt. I haven't got the income to where I wanted it to be, but like the month isn't over.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at that stuff, and then I got like a picture of my family up there, right? I got a picture of what a lot of things that I've wanted to accomplish, right? Creating a better relationship with my grandma. Like that's one of the things that's important because she's, 86 years old and she's not going to live for much longer.
Mm.
And so I want to
I'm listening, by the way. I'm about to put a movie on for my daughter. Keep going.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
listening
good, bro.
through my speaker.
So, but there's just a lot of things that we don't do in life, right? And one of the things that I love about what you're saying is that you took the action, right? You took the action and you did the things that you needed to do. And y'all, here's a crazy thing that I'm feeling right now is that he started this stuff at 23 years old. I'm 39, right? He started at 23. He's got multiple streams of income, right? He's got multiple things going on. He's got so much that he's been able to create in 4.5 years because he had the focus and he wasn't worried about how it was going to happen, right? When you don't worry about the how and you just say like, this is what I want, the how just happens. And like, you weren't worried about how, like, I don't know how I'm going to make money. I'm just going to, I know I have to make money.
I figured there was a time frame that would come where if I was able to actually to force myself to make money, that I was going to make it in some way, shape, or form. No matter what was actually going to need to happen, I was going to make it happen.
Well, the thing that I love about that is that you're burning the bridges.
Yes.
And sounds like you're doing some construction in your house.
They're finishing my base. I have a whole studio being built out downstairs too.
Sick. I can't wait. So, like when I hired my last coach, right, I got into the wellness space. I had a little bit of money saved up for a couple of things. And when I decided, you know what, I'm going to spend this on a coach. And it's more money than I've ever spent on a coach in my life, right? I mean, it's a lot of money. I've dumped hundreds of thousands of dollars into self-development coaching, but this guy was like a big step up. Mm. And not only was a step up, the amount of interaction I had with him went from like a weekly to a monthly. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to talk to you once a month for the same amount of time that I used to talk to my other coaches that were half the price 4 times a month. And I'm going to pay you almost double of what I used to pay my last coach. And I have less access to you. I'm like, how does that add up? He's like, you're going to, he's like, at some point it's going to click and you're going to show up ready to work. And I'm going to give you a 30-day plan. And if you just work that 30-day plan at 30 days at a time, he's like, you're going to see it grow. And the first 4 months, dude, we didn't do anything about business at all. It was like, bro, your mindset is so effed up. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I totally understand why you didn't do this thing and why you didn't do that and why you're here. He's like, your mindset's all fucked up.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not in a growth mindset. You're in a death trap. He's like, you just don't see it because you're in it. He's like, you're spiraling down the toilet. And I was like, oh shit. He's like, so the first 4 calls we spent were just literally mindset. It's like, how do you get out of the toilet?
Yeah.
Then it was like this and then this and this. And he's like, you need a therapist? All right, cool. Hire 2, right? At the same time, hire 2. Because I'm like, I want to make sure the one I keep with, I like. So I hired 2. One allowed me to get into this. One allowed me to get into that. Then I stuck with the one that I like. But people are so scared that they're going to fail that they won't spend any money. Or they're so scared that I don't know what it is, man. Like, I don't know why people are so scared in life. Like, I've always wondered what makes them.
I think they're scared of what they're like, that they're not prepared for the life they could prepare for themselves if they made those positive steps.
Interesting.
That they're almost afraid of, okay, what if I do make this change? Am I ready for this new lifestyle?
It's like when they asked you to be a realtor. got to be a realtor. You got to be a realtor. You got to be a realtor. Like, you know what? I signed you up for the class. You're like, I'm not going to show up. You know, it's like, it took you what, 3, 4, 5, you know, and you guys remember when you're 22 years old, 23 years old, 5 or 6 months is a long time because you just became an adult.
Yeah.
Like adulting just happened a few years ago. So 6 months is like when you're in your 30s and 40s, adulting, you know, 6 months is a shorter period of time. And in your 50s and 60s, 6 months is like nothing.
I speak from experience of, you know, I knew like a lot, like people know hiring a coach will help them. People know taking certain steps in their lives will help them financially. People know if they have a caloric difference between what they eat versus working out, they're going to lose weight. People know that stuff. But for some reason, we're stuck in this world where we think that, okay, I know this is good for me, but am I ready for that? Like I knew as a realtor, I would make more money than I'm making at the time in the Department of Corrections. I knew that.
Right.
That was a fact. That was easy. I could just look around me really quick. Okay, yeah, done. As long as I do what these people are doing, done, easy.
Right.
But I was like, am I the type of person that fits that mold yet? Am I ready for that life? Am I ready for my whole life to really change?
It's the self-worth. Right.
And like feeling of like the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, the imposter syndrome kills more dreams than anything else. And fear is just
Easy.
Future, you know, anticipation of something that isn't real, right? Like fear, we all have fear. Like I've talked to people that are, you know, 10 million people strong followers on all their different social platforms. And they're like, Vic, I get scared when I go up and talk. Like it takes me a few minutes to break the jitters. And then I'm like, oh, okay, the crowd's into it. They're like, but I don't know that the crowd's going to like what I have to say. What if they start throwing rotten tomatoes at me? Like it's never happened, but it's a fear. Like it's a fear that it could happen. And they're like, so we get into state, we do all the things that we need to do, but we still have that anxiety around it, even though we've been on stage so many times, even though we know the people here want to hear us. There's still anxiety and fear. And it comes down to, you know, like you got a daughter that's what, 2.5 years old, something around that?
Right around there, yeah.
Okay, so you got like a 2.5-year-old daughter. What you teach her now up until 6 years old is the crutch of what she's going to have her iOS programming on. Her operating system runs off of what you teach her. Honey, you can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want, or no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Don't do that. This is dangerous. Don't be creative, right? Like when you were in 4th grade, the teacher killed your dreams. And had your principal not pulled you out and said, hey, what you're doing is amazing. It's not amazing here, but it's amazing there. Had you listened to the teacher and not the principal, you might have been on a different trajectory.
Yeah.
You might not be sitting here because you were going to, maybe you didn't even make it to the corrections office, right? You could have ended up on the other side of the tracks doing a lot of things that you shouldn't have been doing. Instead, I mean, you know, you got to see a life where I think it's pretty cool. You got to see, you know, and it's funny you say you saw entrepreneurs with $10 million organizations without a drip campaign, but you got to talk to people and you got to see like what life was like.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what that impact was on you, but I'm sure going into a prison every day had an impact.
Yeah. And honestly, the positive impact came from the inmates. The negative impact came from the officers.
Well, explain that one a little bit, bro.
I mean, the type of person who makes a career as a correctional officer was not the mindset of positivity 99 times out of 100. It was honestly, and I don't speak ill because it's a very tough job.
Yeah, super tough.
It's a very hard job. I speak from the position of understanding it's such a tough job. It wears on you.
Right.
It wears on you to the point where you just simply as a human start to tighten up. You start to get a little bit more brittle. And your openness to growth and your flexibility to shifting in different directions slows down because you just grow into this rut. And Department of Corrections is one of the most rut-inducing lifestyles you can pick. You show up at the same time, 15 minutes early. You get your shift. You go to your shift. You do your routine. Every 2 hours, you're doing a check. Lunchtime, get your lunch trays back. Check, count, rec time. Like, it's just the same thing every single day. And
No
if you grow
creativity.
yourself into that lifestyle where that's normal, being told when to piss is a normal thing,
Yeah.
then you're more institutionalized than some of the people that are in here.
Whoa, mic drop. And I think that I agree, because I've been in jail on the other side of the bars, and that's exactly what it is. It's like lights out, lights on, do this, do that.
Yeah.
And there for every nice guy that you got behind the counter, there's 9 guys that are just cold and hard.
Yeah, 100%. And
no
the
more
thing
life
about
in them.
And the thing about it is, yes, life choices got them there, but one person's choosing to show up there every day. The other's not.
Right.
One person's choosing, I want to be in this prison environment.
Right.
The other person's there as a result of their actions. So you could argue they chose to be there, but honestly, when they were making said decision, they weren't choosing, hey, I want to get caught. So they were simply choosing something that was dumb at the time. So, and I think, and also seeing that, not to get onto another subject, is everybody's one choice away from being in that same position.
Yep.
Everyone's one choice away from being in that same position. And there was some stat that over 80% of people have done something in their life that could have landed them in a cell if they were caught.
I would say it's probably, I would probably say it's 85, 90%.
Yeah. I mean, and when I heard it, I was like, I get that.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
you're 2 beers at the bar and getting pulled over for speeding away from going away for DUI. You're one
beer
reading
away
of
from running somebody over and killing them.
Exactly. You're answering one text on a day where you were super frustrated. You're in an argument with your wife and you're on the phone and you look down and all of a sudden you've hit a biker on the side of the road. Like, we're all, and I would say 100% of people are one choice away. Maybe 80% have already done something that they're like, yeah. And that's only the people who said it. But regardless, the officers, and I say officers, it's anybody who's in this 9 to 5 rut.
Yeah.
There's so many people who just walk into the office, same time, same routine, meeting, lunch with Karen, here for the next 5 hours, dick around until the clock hits 5, go home, same deal. And they're spending 4 years grinding for a 5% promotion.
Yep. That doesn't even keep up with inflation.
Yeah. And the corporate world is so comparable to the prison world.
Yep.
It's not even funny.
Yep. You got to wear your uniform. You got to
at least prison provides food. Like, you got to bring your lunch to work. Like, and I'm not saying you're working in like something that revolves around being a criminal. I'm saying you got to look up sometimes. You got to look up and actually realize where you are. Analyze the day by day. Because a lot of us don't ask ourselves what we want to do with our life after the age of 12.
It's just programmed, dude. It's programmed. It's like, living in an Indian culture, like East Indian, Asian, it's you go to school, you get good grades. If you don't get good grades, your parents say, why aren't you like so-and-so's kid? So then you're competing with so-and-so's kid at a young age. Yeah. And you're feeling like shit because you're like, I don't feel good enough. Then you go to college, right? You got to go to high school. You're not supposed to have any fun. You're supposed to go to all the different dorky camps that you're supposed to do. Great. Good for you. You're supposed to be the spelling bee artist, the this and that, right? Okay, great. Then you're supposed to go to college, right? And you're only supposed to have 3 careers. You're supposed to be an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. Like, those are what you're supposed to do when you're an Indian, because those make money, right? The satisfaction has no component in there. It's like, Mom, Dad, are you guys really happy? Did you guys ever want to do something different? It doesn't matter. You do what Dad tell you. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. You make money. You have the baby. Everything good. Like, what the fudge, dude? Like, are you and Mom happy? Don't worry about it. Like, what do you mean don't worry about it? Like, these are these things we should talk about. And now people are talking about it more because people are seeing
social media
unhappy.
Social media. But now your culture gets to see my culture gets to see their culture. And now we're all culminating the one thing. What's the barometer of life? Okay, right. Enjoyment of life.
The fulfillment.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get to fulfillment? Like, that's like, can you sit on a mountainside and meditate for 40 hours a day and be fulfilled? Or do you need to be out there grinding? And there's nothing wrong with either one. It's just
Yeah.
what makes you
Oh,
fulfilled.
dude, I would love to disappear off the face of the earth for 2 weeks and go to a Buddhist, some form of a mountainside and just
Go do it, man.
join. Bro, I'd love to do that at some
The
point in
world,
my
the
life.
world won't stop.
Oh, I know it won't. And
Your
I'm going to
businesses will
make that
still
happen.
churn. You'll still have the same you'll have new problems when you come back. You'll have old problems when you're here. The world just keeps going, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah. It's not even about time. It's just about, I think there's so many things on this earth that we're so okay with not experiencing before we die. It's sick. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what God you believe in. You could believe in a floating goat in space. Something created all of this, and
Right.
something put the skills, the talents, the ambitions that are in you. And
Right.
for you to just sit by the wayside and allow them to die is a disservice to the person that created them and a disservice to the life you have.
Well, people talk about, let's make the world a better place. Let's do this. Let's do that. I'm like, you don't even make yourself better.
Mm.
Like, you want to make the world better. Like, that's a lofty goal. And
You got
you
to put
can't
your
even
mask on first.
you, you can't even make yourself a little bit better every day. Like,
Yeah.
how do you expect to make the world better? And it's like, you get on social media, you're behind your computer, you're behind your phone, and you talk shit to people. And that's making the world a better place.
Yeah.
Because you're being a social police officer. Like, that doesn't make the world a better place. That doesn't make anybody smile it just creates more animosity with people.
Yeah.
And
You're
so, like, there's a lot a lot of wisdom. I know you got a little one that you're watching. How are we doing on time, bro?
I got about 10 more minutes for you, brother.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear. I know you run a marketing company.
Correct.
I know you run 4 or 5 other businesses. I've had a mindset where it was, I can't do multiple businesses, right? That's a mindset that my parents programmed into me. Partners are bad. Just focus on one thing. I tell a lot of people, most people shouldn't focus on multiple businesses. They should have multiple streams of income, but they shouldn't have multiple businesses because the current business, their main business, doesn't make them enough money anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of doubling down on that, they go to other streams. And so now they're even pulled thinner. So their businesses are all crap instead of just one being decent and growing. They're all just kind of like stagnant and dying. How did you go and have multiple businesses? How do you have multiple? I know the real estate's kind of like that kind of lives under one house, but you also got the marketing, which is a totally different house.
I am under the mindset that when the universe has something for me, it is my responsibility to open that door.
Okay.
And I also have programmed into myself that that's how I operate, that I'm operating at my best, that my businesses are going to be operating at their best when I'm doing multiple things. Yeah. I am a class A overanalyzer. I will dive into analytics until I'm blue in the face. When I have multiple things to focus on, I'm not able to do that to a detrimental point because I have to focus on the growth and basic activities of each. I am extremely, extremely a believer in our truths are our truths. There are study after study after study that when someone truly believes something, it becomes true for them. For example, Wim Hof, just an absolute beast of a human, has breathing exercises. Mm-hmm. And he has literally programmed himself to the point where he was able to run across Antarctic temperatures and his body temperature only went up.
Yep.
There are Buddhist monks who get naked, cover themselves in soaking wet blankets, and walk out in sub-zero temperatures. And within 20 minutes, there's actual steam coming off of them from how much heat their body's producing. There have been cases where people have believed in the healing properties of their body so much that chemicals stronger than the chemical strength of things like heroin were released into their body to heal whatever was needing to be healed. I believe, and I tell myself, and my truth is, if I'm not juggling multiple things, I'm not doing well. Because here's what I know when I'm doing one or two things. The balls are in my hand. They don't move. But when I'm juggling, they're moving. They're active. They're in motion. They're kinetic. I don't believe in static. So I believe you can pour your heart and soul into one business, but I would much rather pour my heart and soul into 12 to 14. And then if 7 of them fail, fantastic. Google has a 40% failure rate for their engineers. They want their idea people to fail because they know if they're not failing, they're not producing.
Right.
They're scared. They're living on the safe side. I would rather have 14 things, have 7 of them fail to find 7 that are great, 2 that are amazing, and 1 of them can be able to pass on for lifetimes after me. And I'll never find that if I just focus on a brokerage. The other thing I'd say is all of the things I'm doing are intertwined. For example, I have a business as an influencer. I make a good $7,000 a month through monetization from different platforms through social media, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, or not Facebook, TikTok, and other ventures. I also have a marketing company. Well, the marketing company is forcing me to learn more and more about these algorithms that are helping me to monetize myself. I also have a real estate brokerage. That real estate brokerage gets a lot of deals because of my national name now on these different platforms where people think it's really cool to be able to work with us because they've seen me on TikTok or Instagram or something like this, or maybe like a podcast like this. And so that leads to more deals for my agents. And then I, having to grow the infrastructure of a brokerage, has taught me, if I can grow an infrastructure around an entire brokerage with content creators and admin assistants and transaction coordinators and VAs and coaches, I can make a team of 4 to 5 people of killers. It's easy. Right. It's like purposely strapping weights onto your ankles and then taking the weights off. So the team then grows because I know how to market and I have marketing people within my company that can help them market. I have connections from my influence that I'm able to have via social media, connect them with people they need to connect to. And they're all operating within a brokerage, which ultimately saves the costs, which allows me to give them better cuts. So all of the businesses help each other. I'm not going and creating a food truck. It's all these businesses assist and work off of one another to the point where one is better for the other one existing.
Makes sense. They're all complementary.
They're all complementary. And even if I did start a food truck or I started selling IT or, IT tech support, whatever it is, I have a truth within my soul is that Zachary Loft is able to and put on this universe to have multiple ventures going, and that sitting stagnant is the only weakness that I will face. I am at my strongest when I'm doing multiple things.
I love it, man. I love it. Where do people find you?
Zachary Loft on TikTok, Clubhouse, Instagram are the main places. You'll have my phone number on there. You want to give me a call. I coach. I do 1-year coaching for 10 grand, pretty cheap, honestly, in the scale of things. During the summer, I'm going to be jacking that price up pretty significantly, but I'm building my initial clientele. It's only a 7-month company so far. And I do 30-day crash courses on social media as well, for $500. Normally 2,000. Right now I'm running for 500, and I don't know when this is going to air. So regardless, if you're interested in the 30-day, hit me up on Instagram. But ultimately, man, I really enjoyed you having me on here, and I'm just always in the business of connecting with more and more awesome people like you.
I appreciate you, brother. What's one takeaway that you want people
to get out of their damn way?
There you go.
Get out of your own way. You're the only person stopping you from moving forward. When you walk into a mirror, you're never going to make it through. And the only person stopping you from walking through, it's you.
Yo, y'all, if you ain't fired up right now, you are smoking some hashish that you should put down, or you are on something, because I'm fired up right now. And I'm like, I'm going to listen to this one over again so I can take notes. Normally I take notes throughout, but this one is so good. I'm like, I just want to be 100% present. Like this, y'all, this was good stuff. If you're not juggling multiple things, you're in your own way. Zachary, dude, I appreciate you so much. I know you're a busy man. I know you got a family. I know you got businesses, which are like more than families when it comes to time. So I appreciate you taking time out of your day to share with us. And I can't wait to continue to connect with you offline.
Absolutely, brother. Can't wait, Vikram. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right. Take care, bro.
All right, brother. See ya.